before starting this one, I just want to give you a tiny bit of very important context. Yeah, so this is the second video I've done of this car recently, and the first one was basically paid for by Ford. So I did sort of promise Ford that I wouldn't slag this car off when I reviewed it. Well, for my employer anyways, and I didn't. But I was genuinely worried about the predicament that I'd put myself in here, because I'd heard, well, not bad things about this car, but just really average things. Look at this, man. What car? 3 stars. Car magazine, 3 stars. In fairness, Autocar gave it 4 stars, but then look at the first thing that you see when you look up that review. We are going to come back to that rim. In fairness, the video was really about the Ford Power Promise. It wasn't about this, so I wasn't being paid to review this car. I wouldn't have done that, especially because the other thing I was worried about, the main thing, to be honest, was that I have driven a Ford Capri recently.
Je suis Capri.
Aye, je suis amore non le Capri.
Portage bonne femme.
But this thing, the petrol Puma specifically that is, people absolutely love it, and quantifiably so. It is the UK's actual best-selling car, and an example of how capable Ford actually is of taking an old name and repurposing it extremely well for the modern age.
Buongiorno.
The petrol Puma is absolutely brilliant. It's much more entertaining, interesting to drive, and just plain fun than any small crossover SUV thingy really should be, but it's also an excellent day-to-day car. It's spacious, and it's well priced, and it's comfy. It's just dead good. And so making an electric version is probably the easiest decision that anyone's had to make since someone offered a girl a milkshake and said, "I've got an idea for you." Anyways, onto the thing that's brought you all to this yard. Phew. I don't know what the problem is with all these 3-star people, to be honest. This is a solid car, a solid 4-star car. But that is a thing. Unlike the petrol Puma, this is not a 5-star car, which means there's something missing. But before we get into all that, so as you can probably tell by looking at it, this is not a brand new electric car that was designed from scratch as an electric car. It's basically the petrol Puma, but with the engine and the fuel tank replaced with an electric motor and a battery pack. To be honest, that's quite a retrograde way of doing an EV these days. So that means that the battery is pretty small, which means that the range is okay, but not the best. And it's quantifiably rubbish when you get on a motorway, which we'll come back to. But it also means that this didn't cost a fortune to develop, because most of the bits already existed. They didn't have to develop it as a brand new electric car from the ground up. And that means the pricing is quite keen, starting at a few quid less than 30 grand, and basically not much more than you'll pay for a petrol Puma with an automatic gearbox. And it's actually cheaper than the Puma ST, while having basically the same amount of power, albeit the Gen-E is much heavier, so it's not as quick. But more important than all that is the fact that the Puma Gen-E is the world's first car, I believe, with a working bath. And if you'd like to see the other version of that particular set piece, go to onlyfans.com/carjody. This is why I do videos just for me these days. Anyways, this thing, it's based on something in the petrol Puma called the Mega Box, but because it's bigger, they've called it the Giga Box. Simple, but effective. And that's really the only difference you'll see. Rear space, the same. Interior, the same. Steering wheel, sadly, the same. Yeah, I don't know about slim and firm and satisfying to hold. It's more massive and square and baffling to hold. Actually, its smiley face and this massive bit here does remind me of something.
Watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic, watch us wreck the mic. Psych.
But I have to say, that is basically the only problem that I have with the Gen-E's interior. It's otherwise fine, good, in fact. It's not the most inspirational piece of car interior design you'll ever see, but then Fords never are. And the massive screen is dead good to use. One of the best, in my opinion. Everything is just dead obvious. There's hardly any fannying around and being confused by it. And the steering wheel buttons are chunky and they make sense. they're plain. And I'll give you an example of why this screen's good, the lane keeping system. So if the car thinks that you're quite close to the lane, it'll show you on here with just a little yellow marker. And then if you're actually going over the lane, it'll go red because there's a problem. It's one of the best I've used because it does that instead of nudging the steering wheel left and right all the time and bouncing the car around, which is what a lot of these lane keeping systems do now. It's a figurative nudge rather than a physical one. The problem with the Gen-E, well, there are two, in fact. The first one is that the battery sucks on the motorway. This is a town car, and I'll show you why using maths, basic maths. So I drove this from my house to Skelton Lake Services, 110 miles, and that used exactly 80% of the Puma's battery. So we extrapolate that, and 100% of the battery on a motorway gets you 138 miles. Now the thing to say about all this is that EVs all do miles below, literally, what their WLTP official mileage claims actually are. But that's the same for every car. It's a lab-based test. It has nothing to do with the real world. It's a way of comparing one thing to another, basically. But when it comes to efficiency, EVs work in the opposite sort of a way to a fuel car. So in a fuel car, your best thing for efficiency is to be on a motorway doing like 55, 60 miles per hour. But in an EV, basically, the faster you're going, the worse your efficiency gets. Still, it is poor that you can only confidently do like 120 miles on a motorway. Although that, my friends, is where the Ford Power Promise comes in. But it is good. You get all this stuff. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to pause. Right, bye. And to actually drive, this thing is good. Now it has lost something compared to the petrol Puma. There's petrol Puma, hello. It's lost some of its sparkle, but then I think that's a nuanced thing that most people won't give a shit about. So if you want to, you can skip this section if you don't want nuance. Ford was always really good at giving its cars this lovely balance between handling dynamics and basic comfort. And those two things are quite often opposed. So like loads of road feel while still feeling soft at the wheels. And when you corner, you don't get loads of body roll, but they don't do that by making the car so stiff that it rattles your fake eyelashes off. And the steering, light, but still this sense that this wheel, or square thing in this case,
Psych!
is properly connected to the front wheels. It was all just a bit magic, even though it was a fat crossover that shouldn't really be driving that way. It's just mint, right? Ford has made a fat Fiesta that can still dance like a standard Fiesta. But this thing, it's kind of lost a little bit of that. So firstly, you can tell that they've had to stiffen the suspension right up to compensate for the extra weight of the battery. And what that's done is made the car a bit jiggly. And the steering's just a bit weird because it has this unusual magnetic quality almost of kind of wanting to go back to the dead center whenever you turn the wheel. Stop it. That is the driver fatigue warning, which is actually brilliant because it sounds like when Jaws is approaching the boat. Be afraid, you are tired. And the electric motor has clearly been designed for efficiency because it doesn't have that kind of sharpness that most electric motors do when you take off. And the more speed you gain, the more there's a sense that it's resisting it and doesn't really want to be there. Like when you're sat at 70, the car's always just wanting to slow down. It feels like a bit of a brick. Now you can come back if you want the general stuff. The pedal feel and the brake in particular, excellent. Dead progressive, dead natural. Electric cars can quite often have snatchy brakes that are dead difficult to modulate, especially at low speed. And the driving position is lush. It's just dead comfy, it's good, there's loads of adjustment everywhere. You sit dead high, the visibility's really good, but you don't feel like you're on top of the car. That's a classic good driving position. And generally, really quiet, this car. And you'd never say it was uncomfortable, despite what I just said about the ride quality. And the cabin quality is fine. I reckon some people have probably scratched this and had a go at it, but who cares? This is nice, and this is nice, and this is nice. And there's loads of storage space for dumping your crap everywhere. And the cup holders are big and they've got lights in them, so they look pretty. That's right, pretty cup holders. Only thing that I'd really complain about is that the wireless phone charging pad is really slow and it runs really hot. It burnt me fingers the other day when I took my phone off it. So the 30 grand car, the basic one, has loads of stuff as standard, so you don't really need anything else. Unless you want this guy's favourite stereo.
It's mine.
Which isn't the most overly sophisticated audio system on the market, but damn it, it can handle the bass. So, like I said, solid 4-star car, but you could obviously get something else, like this, which looks great, drives great, but also has the worst software since
E.T. for Atari.
It was bad.
Or you could get this if you want, not wrong with it. So, yeah. I'd get this though, probably. It is the most interesting and most modern feeling electric SUV that's this sort of size and price. The issue with the Gen-E is not the car itself, it's fine, it's good in fact, I really like it. It's just that it feels slightly behind the curve even though it's brand new. If you've got like 30 to 35 grand to spend on an electric car, there are just so many alternatives that you can get that would be better in a lot of very particular ways than this is. Still, as an overall thing, it's dead canny and it's dead easy to recommend. And it is, at least, not a Ford Capri.
Oh, what's going on here? Cats and Arts getting involved with some supporters.
Sego, thanks. If you come this far, please do me a favour and subscribe. And if you do, you're doing great. And I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye. Oh, we're done. Nice.